Today, in honor of Halloween, we've got Batman, the Dark Knight, running through a gauntlet of some of horror's greatest villains and monsters. He can prepare beforehand, he can plan out and strategize how to defeat these horror icons. All he's got to do is beat them. So can Batman do it? Can Batman clear the gauntlet? Well, let's find out. And starting out, we've got Chucky. And there's no way that Batman isn't winning this fight. I mean, Bruce actually has an evil puppet in his rogues gallery, Scarface. And he beats Scarface and the ventriloquist on a routine basis. Now, Chucky isn't necessarily on the same tier as Scarface. He's regularly been able to overpower grown men and kill them, and he's quite unkillable himself, even being able to keep on going through shotgun blast or missing limbs. But yeah, it's a doll going up against Batman. Bruce can literally do this in his sleep, and I really don't think I need to go into any further detail on how Batman can win. I mean, he's Batman. On to the next one. Next up, Michael Myers. He's been able to lift up a large tombstone out of the ground, easily penetrate a human skull with his thumb, and hold up and strangle a man with just one hand. Myers can also survive injuries that would kill many normal people, such as being shot or stabbed multiple times through his internal organs, even his brain and heart, being impaled, electrocuted, or burned. It's never fully explained how Michael gained these superhuman abilities, but it's possible it's granted to him by the magical nature of the Curse of Thorns, seeing as how the cult members believe that evil can never die. But again, this is Batman we're going up against here, and I don't really want to reduce Michael to an insane man in a jumpsuit with a knife. I mean, he is a staple of the genre, but compare him to Batman, that's about all Michael is. Bruce has literally filled Arkham Asylum full of guys just like him. There's no way Batman doesn't win this fight. The Wolfman. Werewolves are superhumanly strong, even stronger than vampires under a full moon. They're superhumanly durable, being completely unaffected by even gunshots or knife stabs, and to top it all off, superhumanly fast. Then there's their razor-sharp fangs and claws to top it all off. See how this fight isn't necessarily going to be an easy fight for Batman, but it's definitely a fight that Bruce wins 10 times out of 10. Batman actually fought against werewolves on a fairly routine basis. Well, not fairly routine basis, but definitely fights them a whole lot more than the average person. It makes it look easy while doing it. There was even once a straight-up werewolf in Batman's rogues gallery, Anthony Lupus, and Batman regularly beats him, so he's gonna beat the Wolfman here too. Frankenstein. Or I guess if you want to get all technical about it, Frankenstein's monster. What's he capable of? Well, I think it really depends upon what iteration of the character you're talking about here. In Mary Shelley's book, it was said the monster could tear a man limb from limb and can't feel pain. That's going to be a cakewalk for Batman. Then over with the universal version of the guy, always snapped thick metal chains, ripped down cell doors, and pushed over a ton of rocks with ease. And since those are the most classic horror versions of the character, Batman wins this round and he's moving on to the next one. Through a couple of explosive batarangs, and boom, on to the next one. Batman deals with people on that level with ease. But just for fun, how would Batman fare against the Frankenstein from the DC universe? Well, the big guy shrugged off machine guns and flamethrowers, got a bullet through the head, and was back up a few hours later. He's even had his heart torn out. He's completely crushed a superhuman's neck, fought against different versions of Wonder Man and Shazam, and when going up against Red Hood, well, he knocked Jason straight through a wall. However, Batman's actually fought this version of Frankenstein before, left him in pieces, in fact, and I think Bruce can do it again. Dracula, the king of the vampires. He oftentimes doesn't prefer to get into one-on-one fights, but he's more than capable of holding his own. Van Helsing claims that he's got the strength of 20 men. He's able to beat people so bad that he breaks necks and skulls. Then he's a vampire. He can obviously drain blood from his victims. But that's not all he can do. Dracula can also control his victims with mind control, shapeshift into bats or wolves, as well as control nature, control animals, even control the undead. However, with all that being said, I think this one is one of the easiest ones to decide. Batman wins again. There was a whole story written about it, a whole movie made about it. And especially if Batman has time to prepare beforehand, or even just knows that he's taking on Dracula before the fight begins, he's coming out on top here. He's done it before, he'll do it again. Aliens are living, breathing weapons with absolute adaptability, no fear, and no mercy. They will destroy anything that attacks them. No mercy, no limits. Now, xenomorphs are much stronger and more durable than humans, despite their skeletal exterior. They're able to easily carry fully grown men, smash through steel grates with little effort, and are durable enough to take military-grade machine gun fire or shotgun blast, and even massive explosions. See, it's been shown that xenomorphs are able to contend with predators on a purely physical basis. Xenomorphs are notoriously quick, have incredible reflexes, and have no problem maneuvering in tight spaces. I mean, aliens are so fast, they will dodge bullets and machine gun fire. Then with their tail, well, they can impale people, throw them around. They've got twin jaws that can pierce through skulls, and acidic blood that can go through metal. And yet, through all that, I think Batman still is going to win. Because just like Dracula, he's done it before. There have been several comic series of Batman taking on xenomorphs. He's even taken a whole hive of them before and come out on top. And especially if Bruce gets a little bit of time to prepare beforehand, oh yeah, Batman wins more times than not. The Predator. A predator is strong enough to rip off a head, rip out spines, and can easily crumple thick metal security doors with their bare hands. They're fast enough to dodge machine guns and futuristic weapons at point-blank range with ease, and if they're hit, well, don't worry, because predators are more than durable enough to take it. In the movies, a predator was shot several times in the chest with a shotgun, and kept on fighting. While in the comics, they've done even more impressive things, like taking 3 or 4 Hellfire missiles, and a beating from the Xenomorph Queen. Now, Predators are absolute masters at a wide variety of melee and ranged weapons, with some of their known weapons including a shoulder-mounted laser cannon, numerous different wrist gauntlets, a retractable spear blade, throwing discs that can cut through almost anything, and nets of thin mesh that can cut its trapped foe. But, and this is just kind of getting repetitive here, Batman can win because Batman's won before. Now, granted, Batman has lost to the Predator before, but in the comic, well, he had time to prepare, he had time to plan beforehand and build his own armor, and he took down the alien. So yeah, Batman's done it before, he can do it again. Jason Voorhees. Jason possesses some level of superhuman strength, being able to easily overpower and kill most opponents, and has remarkable endurance and durability as well. Jason has even withstood fatal injuries that would kill or cripple a normal person, like being hanged, a machete to the shoulder, or an axe to the head, or being impaled through the head. However, now that he's technically undead, Jason no longer responds to pain and can usually keep on going through just about anything. Jason is also massively stronger. A punch out a man's heart of a single hit, decapitate someone with a punch, and even break humans in half. He's also become essentially immortal, which means that he doesn't age and normal injuries don't faze him. But let's take a look at Solomon Grundy. I mean, he's a zombie too. Now, granted, Grundy is kinda all over the place in terms of strength and power. He's inconsistent as it gets, and at a different power level each rebirth. However, even at his lowest points, at his worst moments, Grundy is still just at least on par with Jason. And yet, Batman's taken him down. Batman's beaten him before, he's choked him out, and knocked Grundy out. And then none of that ends up working out. Well, you can just throw some explosives that taken out Doomsday clones or sent damage flying backwards. Yeah, that should be enough to do it. It might not necessarily be an easy fight, but Bruce has fought against enemies just like Jason Voorhees before, and he's got more than enough firepower to take him down. Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger made a deal with dream demons, and in exchange for their power, he will kill on their behalf, killing his victims in their dreams. Freddy can enter the dreams of anyone on Elm Street and Springwood, provided that there is enough fear of him, and whatever injuries he inflicts on them in the dream world will cross over into the real world. This is how he kills his victims. He usually uses his clawed glove to attack and kill his victims, but also manipulates the dream world around him, and usually does it in order to prey upon the person's fears or even their hopes and dreams. For example, he turns Debbie, who hates bugs, into a cockroach, then crushes her. He can't be killed while he's in the dream world, and in the dream world, he's displayed actually quite a few powers, including the ability to regenerate lost body parts, shapeshift. He's even got telekinetic powers. So what can Batman do here? What can Batman do in this fight? Well, Freddy is kinda an inconsistent character, as there have been times where he actually needs his victims to fear him in order to injure them, much less kill them. But here's the thing about Bruce. He was chosen to be a part of the Sinestro Corps because of his ability to instill fear, and he was rejected by the Green Lantern Corps because he embraced fear rather than overcame it. He's straight up taken pure fear energy before, and also straight up canonically has no fear. On top of that, Batman has been exposed to so many different fear toxins throughout the years that it's just not going to be affected too much by Freddy here in this fight. More likely than not, Batman's going to be able to calm down and figure out that he's just in a dream. Done this sort of thing before too. Figure out that he's in a dream world, that is. Freddy also isn't necessarily the best at going up against people who know they're in a dream and can lucid dream. Basically, people can take back control of the dream from Freddy. Did you ever see the Justice League episode Only a Dream? Because that's pretty much the exact same scenario we're talking about here. Dr. Destiny, someone who can trap people in their dreams, kill people in their dreams, basically Freddy Krueger. Well, he managed to trap all the Justice League in their dreams and tormented them. But when he goes up against Batman, well, Batman just starts humming Faire Jacques, driving away Destiny's illusions and even driving him insane. Something could happen here the same way. And then finally, we've got Pennywise. Pennywise's primary goal is to feed on humans, generally preferring children over adults since they're easier to scare and manipulate. According to the creature, frightened flesh just tastes better. It can transform into any kind of being, including things that don't exist in reality and aren't even physically possible. It can appear in multiple places as multiple beings, and different people can actually see it as different things, like when Richie saw it as a werewolf while Bill saw it as Pennywise. It's also able to create illusions, which can actually be physically touched, and Pennywise generally uses these to instill fear in his prey. It's also able to turn invisible whenever it wants to, and actually appear to only certain people while remaining invisible to others. It can telekinetically control and manipulate objects, instantly teleport anywhere inside of the town of Derry, control the minds and actions of weaker willed people, and Pennywise is also able to actually detect emotions and memories of his prey, generally using this ability in order to exploit their fears. So basically, you can treat him like Freddy Krueger, just in the real world. However, even though Pennywise is obviously incredibly powerful, he does have some pretty significant weaknesses. Given that it needs to feed on fear, makes sense that courage and heart can overcome it. And on top of not being afraid of anything, Batman is full of courage and heart. Pennywise can also be taken by surprise, and actually physically injured, the attacker demonstrates no fear, which, like we just said, Batman can do. Then, despite being a fearsome creature, Pennywise isn't necessarily fearless. At the first sign of being overpowered, generally makes a quick retreat. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I actually think this could be a pretty easy victory for the Caped Crusader. I mean, I don't actually think that Batman could defeat the eldritch horror that's Pennywise's true form, but a bunch of kids were able to stop being afraid of Pennywise and then physically beat him up. Batman's never going to be afraid of Pennywise in the first place, and he's capable of laying down a whole lot more of a smackdown than a bunch of kids. Yeah, Batman is winning this one. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Sign off in the comments down below. Also, be sure that like button, subscribe button, and turn notification on the FanCo army. And I will see y'all next time.